kids, grandkids, or you just want to read it, there's some cute books and stuff over there too. So, and then I had passed out something about a free will offering being taken for the churches that we stayed in and who hosted us. So once everything gets collected, I'm going to split it up between the 4 and send it to them. They were amazing, and you'll hear about them here. And then also, I do have a box, so if you have checks or cash or anything like that, the offering box in the back, I just commandeered it, and we're going to put stuff in there. So, okay. Andrew, what needs to happen now? Okay. Welcome to our quiz about Puerto Rico. So, first question. What is the capital city of Puerto Rico? And you can vote, I think, on your phones. So the options are Vieques, Ponce, San Juan, or Mayes. What? Oh, no Siri. Okay, all right, we're doing pretty good. We got 14 votes. Nobody else thinks any of the other ones? Okay, well, that's correct. So that's San Juan is the capital. So very good. If you got that one, good job. Nobody got it wrong, so that's good. All right, a Puerto Rican can run for president of the United States. Is that true or false? A Puerto Rican can run for president of the United States. All right. It's true. A Puerto Rican can run for president of the United States. Let's go to the next question. A Puerto Rican can vote for president of the United States. So when we get about 16 or 17 around there. Oh, okay. Now we have more participation. I'm so glad. It is false. A Puerto Rican cannot run for president of the United States. A Puerto Rican cannot vote for president of the United States. However, they can run, yes. All right. Keeping in with politics, a Puerto Rican can be drafted into the U.S. military. True or false? All right, yes, that is true. So, if you're Puerto Rican, you can run for president in the United States. I think good luck, because you don't have any other Puerto Ricans to really vote for you if they're in Puerto Rican. So Puerto Rico is is a Commonwealth of the United States. However, they do not. So, as Washington D.C. has an amendment to the Constitution that allows them to vote for president of the United States, although that they don't have a congressperson, Puerto Rico does not have that amendment. So they have representatives, but they do not have senators or congressmen, but they are able to be drafted into the U.S. military. Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, and you do not need a passport to travel there. So, following World War II, what equipment did the U.S. military leave on some of Puerto Rico's most beautiful beaches? The options are cannons, fighter planes, guns, or tanks. All right, yes, the answer is tanks. You'll see some pictures in here. Flamenco Beach is one of the world's most beautiful beaches, crystal clear water, beautiful mountains, beautiful skies, white sand, and there's also graffitied tanks just hanging out. All right, El Yunque National Forest is one of many tropical rainforests in America's National Forest System. True or false? El Yunque National Forest is one of many tropical rainforests in America's National Forest System. This is false. El Yunque is the only tropical rainforest in America's National Forest System. Tricky. the metric or imperial system used in Puerto Rico? Is it metric, imperial, neither, or both? Okay, yes. The answer is both. So gas is sold by the liter. So it's 80 cents. It was about 80 cents per liter while we were there. The speed limits are miles per hour, but the distance is kilometers. So everything is really fun. It's very fun. All right. Who were Puerto Rico's first inhabitants? Were they the Cherokees, the Taínos, the Navajo, or the Apache? Oh, goodness. All right, some of you have read a book or something. Okay, the Taíno people. It's actually become a lot, people are starting to talk about it a lot more. The Taíno people, and you'll see in the presentation, we went in Ayuye where there's some Taíno things happening. They have some of the drawings, the hieroglyphics and things like that on the rocks. So, all right, next. Bingo. Come on up, Lori. Lori, you can pick from anything that's up here. All right. Puerto Rico is known as the land of the succulents. Is that true or false? Land of the succulents. It is false. Succulents, while are everywhere, Puerto Rico is known as the land of the enchanted. Yes. But Encanto is not based there, just an FYI. Although it seems just like it, so there was some arguing. Puerto Rico takes pride in having the longest holiday celebration in the world. Which one of these traditions marks the end of Christmas on the island? Fiestas de la Calle Sebastián, New Year's Eve, Dia de Reyes, which is Three Kings Day, Las Activitas. It's actually, oh, that's not right. You guys put in the wrong answer. You probably did. I was getting dressed with one hand. I burned my finger this morning, so this is my emotional support glass of water. All right, actually, it's Fiestas de la Calle Sebastián is at the end. I believe it's January 26th is the end of Christmas season. We were there for Three Kings Day, which is January 6th, which is a very welcomed new memory of January 6th to have, and yes, exactly. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful celebration, and I encourage you all to read about it. There's actually some really wonderful books up here that talk about it if somebody doesn't take them. But the one that you have, I think, right now actually is a really good one. And I can send out the name of it. But our little librarian that was on our group, she shared that. And that's it. So good job. I think most of you guys did really, really well. Good job. Very good. Okay. So we're going to get started. All right. Here we go. All right. So thank you guys again for coming today. Mentor United Methodist has been a huge player in my life in a lot of different ways. I've been here for a little bit over 20 years. I came here at 13. And this is I've said this in all of my kingdom signs. I've said this time and time again. Mentor UMC is a very missions-driven church. And before I came here, I didn't even know what the heck that would have meant. But today, it's that we are the hands and the feet, and that we get out there and we do things. So this place has inspired me to get out there and do things. And this is where I went. So go ahead to the next slide. Oh, I have the thing. My bad. I only have one hand. Okay, go up and get a prize. I am not going to monitor your bingos. Just go up and get a prize. We have coffee. Like we have coffee. We have little cookies. We have little ornaments and things. All right. So, bienvenidos. which means welcome. Thank you for joining us today, and I'm really excited to share this with you. Up there, you will see our group in front of Fort in San Juan. And we're actually missing Spencer, and I don't know where he could have possibly gone, but he wasn't there. Abby, do you know where Spencer was? Okay, no idea where Spencer went, but most of us are there, and Kathy's taking the picture. Our first host was at Iglesia Metodista Los Angeles, which is directly across from the airport, which was very loud. If you haven't been to Puerto Rico, not many of the rooms have like glass in the windows, and everything's made of stucco. So the sounds kind of just go through everything. So this is a church, like I said, right outside. It's in technically in Carolina, and just outside of San Juan, directly across from the airport. We were hosted by Sonia. She lives right near the church, but she would come over every morning and make us breakfast. She made us lunch. She made us dinner and things like that. She was there for questions if we had anything, and of course, and she made sure that we were safe, that we were fed, that we were, I don't know, cool, I guess. We had air conditioning in our rooms. There were two places. So there was a women's or girls' side and then the boys' side. And they had an air conditioning in there. And that was the only places that were air conditioned, was just in the bedrooms. So the bathrooms would get very, very hot, as you might think. And we all actually got our own little bunk thing because they were very short, but we were all able to have our own like little bunk, and we had the top and the bottom, so if we wanted to stay on the top or the bottom. And it was a really good location. We were right by the freeway and everything too, so we could kind of get anywhere that we needed to go. They had a beautiful, in some of the pictures that you'll see in the slideshow and everything, they had a beautiful sanctuary, which is where we would do devotions, and we'd kind of debrief on the day. We played games. We ordered pizza. We did all of the things that 18 to 35-year-olds might do when in Puerto Rico. Bruce showered like 6 times a day because it was so unbearably hot. We all did. Yeah, between the chickens and the dogs and the airplanes, not a lot of sleeping was done. It was loud. Our next place that we traveled to stay was Camp Metodista Obispo Fred P. Corson, which we call Camp Corson, located in Ayuya. It was up in the mountains. The mountains are a little bit cooler, but not much cooler. There was a little bit more of a breeze, which I was surprised with because I thought that we'd have a breeze down closer to the ocean, but we didn't. So up here in the mountains, this is a beautiful camp. They're celebrating 50 years this year. They had some celebrations that started in February. They'll go through October. It's a Methodist camp. They host children there every summer. They have a pool. They have a little basketball court. They had some very heavy damage from the hurricanes. And they are pretty much, if you look at the island, it's pretty much right in the center. So Carolina would have been up in the northeast kind of area by San Juan. Ayuya is like pretty much right directly in the middle. And so they would have been fairly close to the earthquakes, and I think that they did have some damage and things like that. To get up to the camp, it's about at least 45 minutes, maybe to an hour of like windy roads. So like think about California, like Northern California, going up in the mountains and things like that, 25 mile an hour, kind of sharp turns and things like that. We were hosted by Chenin, his wife Norris, who was actually taking care of her parent, I believe, and then Rosa Angelique, David, and our cooks, and they did an amazing job, again, just of keeping us fed and happy and showing us every Christmas light that existed on the island. So many Christmas lights. But it was a beautiful space, and it was very like rainforest-like. Many of the beautiful pictures that I took were actually up here. We had coconut from a tree. We had passion fruit from a tree. I believe our bananas could have come from those trees, although they weren't ripe yet for the morning. But it was just amazing to be in that space. They have little cabins along with, so on the right here is where we stayed, which would be like kind of dormitory style. They had a boys' side and a girls' side. They had a full kitchen. They had bathrooms and everything too. This is actually the only place where we had hot water to shower in. But not until day 2. Trust me, when it's 85 degrees and like 90% humidity, it's okay. And we had some really heavy rains and things like that here. We were having devotions the one night and like had to stop talking because the rain was so loud. And the coqui frogs. The coqui frogs told us before we were coming up back from dinner, from walking down to dinner, and the coqui frogs were like so loud, so like deafeningly loud, and then it poured. And then that was also very loud. But it was amazing to be up there in the mountains and things like that too. Ayuya doesn't have a ton of industry outside of just like the little shops, grocery stores, and things like that. They pretty much just have Baxter Pharmaceuticals, and that's it. That's the only thing that they have there. So a lot of people will just farm what's on their property. And so it's not super obviously wealthy. Most of Puerto Rico isn't very wealthy, but I know, Chloe, I know. Oh, wow. But yeah, so a lot of the houses are just generational. They kind of build, they just kind of move in and move out and move in and move out. And they just try to keep them in the family as much as they can. So it was pretty poor, but the culture was amazing and the food was amazing. The last place that not the last technically, but the last church that hosted us was Iglesia Metodista Jerusalem, which was in Culebra, which there are 2 like bigger islands off of Puerto Rico called Vieques and Culebra. So Culebra is about an hour or so, maybe hour and a half ferry ride from the mainland or from mainland Puerto Rico. We were hosted by Pacheco. And that is this church, as well as Culebra, is the home of D.S. Nestor Nazario. He was on the North Shore, yeah. Now it's been renamed to, I don't know what it's called anymore, but he's DS there. So he had hooked us up with the church and Pacheco. Pacheco looks just like him. And we were hosted there, kind of similar bunk style. Actually, everywhere was a bunk style and everything like that. Only this one we could actually sit up in, which was nice. The other one we could not. And this was beautiful. We did a lot of painting here. So we did painting of the common area room, and then 2 of the bedrooms, and into the kitchen, and then another kind of common area, like little patio spot. So our group was made up of 12. We were total strangers, well, basically like total strangers. Obviously, I've known Abby since she was, I think, born, but I didn't know Abby, right? Because I'm old enough to be her mother. Same thing with Lydia, who's new here. I could be Lydia's mother. So out of the 12 of us, there was only 5 actually eligible to rent a car. So, and I was one of them. But it was amazing. And between Kathy, Bruce, myself, Matt, and Rebecca, we were the only ones eligible to actually rent cars, and we had 3 cars. So we were total strangers. I think all of us knew maybe somebody a little bit, I knew Kathy, obviously. And like Christian Dimmerling, his grandmother runs Gifted Gates down in whatever area that is. And so he knows Kathy for a long time. Katelynn McTrusty, her father is a pastor within the denomination. Obviously Ivy. Katie Kintop is in the middle there. She is the youth over at Brunswick United Methodist, youth director. And Matt Stone, he's next to me on the one picture. He is answering a call to ministry slowly but surely. He's been raising a family, and he's now answering a call to ministry. So we were pretty much strangers. We met over Zoom about once a month for about 6-7 months before we came. And we became all very fast friends, mostly because we had to, but also because we were all put there for the right reason. And I'll talk a little bit about that, about my own journey to this journey. But they were pretty transformational relationships. We shared a lot in our devotionals about things that were really personal to us, personal struggles, personal experiences, and to have the support and not have the judgment of one another after just meeting each other was really transformational. So, our fearless leaders. Kathy DeCreedy, obviously, most of you would know her as, being Kathy DeCreedy. She is currently the Connectional Ministries Office Missions and Community Engagement Director for the East Ohio Conference. She does get paid by the letter. It's a very long title. She does everything. She's currently on leave. She's not here today. She is doing some traveling, but I think she's going to be watching it another time, so we can all say hello. Her favorite scripture is Micah 6:8. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. And she lives that out every single day, and she made sure that we all lived that out throughout our journey as well. She was pretty crazy. She went for some runs in the morning with Christian. I think one day they ran 10 miles, by accident, 10 or 12 miles by accident. I was like, at some point you just turn around, but, and it was and she would get up at 6 in the morning, so, to do that. So, that was Kathy. And next we had Bruce, who's here today. Bruce, if some of you know or don't know, Bruce was here temporarily, well, not temporarily, but Bruce was here briefly for how long? About a year and a half back in 2016-17. He has served at Lakewood, Mentor, and Mayfield. Is that right? Okay. Oh, yeah, Jefferson. That's right. Yep. Bruce is our group dad. He was the dad. He made sure we had sunscreen. He made sure we had bug repellent. He was our group dad. So it was, as somebody, that went through what I went through the last year or so, or 2 years, it was really nice to have him there and to connect with him, because I didn't really know him very well when he was here. And just to reconnect, but then it was a really nice relationship, I thought, that we built. He owns his own handyman business, so if you need anything done, he knows how to do everything. Like I said, which is perfect that he owns his own handyman business, because he can do anything. And he's gone on how many mission trips? A whole bunch. Yeah, a whole bunch. So not only does he know how to do everything, he just knows everything. So Bruce is the best person to go on a mission trip with. A little bit about me. I've been a member here for over 20 years. I was involved in the food ministry. I am in missions committee. I set up the mats out there. I do some work with Nehemiah Mission and lots of probably other things that I couldn't quite think of. I do have some roles within the conference and jurisdictional level, I guess, as well. So I do sit on the East Ohio Conference Board of Missions. I'm a chair for that, or co-chair, not sure. And then at the jurisdictional level, I was asked after our UMVIM Academy to be on our UMVIM board. So we meet quarterly, I believe, and we handle some of we do an academy where people from the jurisdiction come, and we talk about the trips that are going on and just kind of monitor where people are going and what they're doing. This was my third try to go to Puerto Rico. The first try was in January of 2020, which outside of COVID, we weren't even worried about COVID. We were worried, the earthquakes hit, and there was several. And they all hit the south, east and southwest, I think, parts of the island. However, the damage, it was unknown. They hadn't really had anything that was that strong, and to have 3 or 4 of them, one right after another, in a week's time, proved to be a little bit unsafe. And our trip was canceled about a week before we were supposed to go. And it was one of those things of like, infrastructure is so it's like, do you want to like, have to run out in the middle of the night because your building's collapsing on you? No, not so much. Okay. People were like, there was another group that went about 2 weeks after we were supposed to go that we were working with because they were a local group as well. And they did say that people were sleeping outside. So yeah, it was very serious. And quite honestly, Puerto Rico has enough things going on that they don't need, more bodies to just be hanging around. And then COVID happened, and all trips got canceled until April, I believe, of 2022. And Kathy went the week before I was supposed to go, and then at the end of March of 2022, my dad got sick, and so I stayed with him. And this time, knowing it was a young adult, so 18 to 35, geared towards discovery, geared towards building relationships, geared towards new things, I was really excited, but also like really nervous about going. And it turned out to be the most perfect group of people and experiences that I could have ever asked for. So yeah, it was, and when I got to Puerto Rico, the first time I was by myself because I came from Orlando and everybody else was coming in from Baltimore, and we were going to all meet at the airport. Their flight came in about an hour after mine. And I got there and I stood in front of the sign and I was like, all I had to do is just get on the plane. That's all I had to do is just get on the plane. That's how to get to Puerto Rico, is just get on the plane. It wasn't as hard as it had seemed. So this was called a Discovery Mission Journey, and not, I don't know, even myself, we didn't really know what that meant. I don't know if Kathy exactly knew what it meant either, but it's discovery, so it's new, and it's, instead of being called a trip, we're calling it a journey because we want something to be transformed. We don't want it to be looked at as a vacation. We want change to happen, whether it's in us, well, hopefully it's all of it. It's in us. It's in the people that we're helping. It's in the communities that we're helping. It's not just about going somewhere that's warm when it's 3 degrees in January, which it was. But that's besides the point. So we got into the car, the first trip literally out of the rental car, and my group of 3 and then plus me, so 4, look at me and they say, "So what are we doing here?" And I'm like, that's a good question. In all of our Zoom meetings, I don't know that it was ever really like, what are we doing here? So I said, this is an opportunity. The place that my prior 2 trips would have been through a place called Rijas, and that is in Puerto Rico. They line up the vans, they line up the work projects, they line up everything for you. They get you a translator if you need all of those things, and they cook for you there. It's a place to sleep. I'm sorry, my finger is on fire. It's just the water feels okay. So that organization, with COVID and everything, they have stopped hosting groups outside of Puerto Rico, and it's due to like staffing and budgets and all that thing that's happening here that's happening exponentially there. So they are hosting just Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico. Similar if we went, to somewhere in Detroit or something, or somewhere in Illinois to do a mission project or something like that, it's the same thing. So this journey was one of the first ones outside of that relationship happening, because it ended in 2023, and we're supposed to go out there and find, if there are people in Northeast Ohio that want to go to Puerto Rico to do work in whatever sense, whether there's another hurricane, earthquakes, even to help, some of the sites, who do we call? Where do we go? How much is it? That's why we were going down there, is to find out all of that kind of information. So we dug some holes. We did some painting. We did some concrete mixing, which there doesn't come in a ready mix thing. You actually have to get the gravel. Bruce, yeah, we had to get the gravel. Not we, not me, but the boys had to get the gravel, and they had to get the rock and the sand or whatever, and then mix it with the concrete on the ground with shovels. Yeah, and then they dug holes. A lot of holes, and I still don't know, we're not entirely sure about the holes still, but they did dig holes. And we did a lot of painting, and we did some outside work and things like that, so I think there might be some pictures in the slideshow about that. We also, on our first night, the one here on the bottom right, is we were anointing one another with oil, just as kind of a, like a, what would you call it, Bruce? What would you call the anointing of oil? What is that? Like a... It was just a way to start our, week and to anoint each other. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So we did that. We did devotionals. Each person, each day had a devotional. And I started it out because why not? And I picked a song. And so that also led us to people sharing songs that meant something to them. And we got to share, if you wanted, like why that song was important to you and things like that, which was really nice. Because I think, some people do worship and stuff through music. So we did that. We did prayer. We debriefed on the days. In the middle photo, I think we're all laughing. I'm not sure about what, but I know that conversation got very real after that. And tears were shed and things like that. And a lot of growth happened on those couches in that orange room. So, all right. Oops, not spelling. All right, so the party church... It's not included as a place that we stayed. However, we were invited, and it was named the Party Church, and you'll see why in a second. As you can already see, we have obviously lots of instruments going on and things like that, and it was so much fun, and they hosted us for like 6 hours. It was on the Sunday following Three Kings Day, so it was on the 7th, which is a huge celebration for them, but the celebration was very clear that it was because we were there. And it was wonderful to be honored. We danced, we sang, we had coquito. They prepared like basically 2 meals for us. We had like appetizers, which we all thought was like a meal in itself. And then they brought out, we have food coming. And we're like, what did we just have? And so it was amazing. We had a conga line and everything. It was great. And Andrew will play it for you. With the tambourine. It was amazing. And the feedback from all of that when we debriefed was that it was a very long day and a very unexpected day. However, we felt the hospitality so much, to be like honored and to be said like, this is for you. Like, we are happy that you're here. And it brought up in conversation a little bit about how we treat people who come to visit our church, and do we treat them as that we were treated at this one? And it's not here, it's everywhere, especially here. And that also prompted a conversation about warm and cold climates, and how, cold is what it is. It's cold. And then warm is what it is. It's warm. So we talked a lot about that. There's a book that I read in preparation called Foreign to Familiar, and it basically just highlights all of the in-betweens between the warm culture and the cold culture. The warm culture, it's almost like a door is always open. And let's say you're doing a bunch of things, and your friend comes over, and they sit down on your couch. You are now sitting down on your couch, and you're going to stay with them until they leave. You're going to offer them food. You're going to offer them drinks, things like that. And your day stops because your friend, your family member has come over to visit you, and now you're focused on them. Whereas in cold culture, it's like, did you text first? Did you text me? Did we set this up? Do I have a calendar invite for this meeting? No? Okay, then we got to keep going. Maybe next week, pencil me in kind of thing. And it was very polar. And the same thing, people were coming up and asking us to dance. And it's like, you don't turn that down. You can't turn that down because it's just part of their culture to say, come and do this with me. I want to do this with you. Outside worship experience. So, okay. Oops. Sorry, Steve. It's your clicker. All right. So, before we left, a few of us were invited down to the East Ohio Conference office. If you don't know, you do now. They do a weekly faith witness transformation storyboard podcast. And they feature different things or whatever, but I think the best one is here, episode 28. And there's a few of us featured. There's also, Christian was on here, but I don't know why his picture didn't get put on here. That's weird. But so we talked about these discovery missions and what it means and how we were hoping it to be transformational and things like that. So it's out now. They recorded us before we left, and then they recorded us when we got back. And on it, it's just a blip. It's like 5 seconds. But to us, it was about a month, and we traveled about, 2,500 miles. So it's pretty interesting about how it all came to be. So you can go on and you can listen to those. And then I don't remember what other slides I have, but sorry, I gotta get a thing. Okay, so before I end or anything like that, I did want to see if Ivy's Lydia still here? Okay. Abby, did you want to come up and say anything about your experience or anything? Okay. Abby's here from college. And I just wanted to invite her up just to say a little bit about what this meant to her, so I can shut up for a second.
This was a really, really cool experience for me. I'd never been on any kind of, I went on YSP once, but that was during the COVID era when it was we went 40 minutes south to Camp Asbury. So it was really, really cool to have an opportunity to go farther than I'd ever been before. And I'm a freshman in college. I've never traveled without my parents before. So it was a really scary thing to jump into. But by the end of it, I was yeah, I want to do this again. We had so many amazing conversations, you were saying on those couches, and talking about so many real things in the world. And it was a really, really wonderful experience to hear everyone's perspectives and everyone's experiences. And I think it brought us really close over the period that we were there. It felt like it was a lot longer that we were there than we actually were because of how much we bonded with each other, and that was really cool. And the hospitality we were shown by the people in Puerto Rico, in the churches that we stayed in, who prepared us that food and offered to show us around and took us to see so many Christmas lights. So many Christmas lights. So many Christmas lights. I'd never experienced anything like it before. And so that was really inspiring to me. I want to bring that home with me, and I want to be the sort of person who can extend that hospitality to people too. So I think I came away feeling very inspired and excited from what I can bring to this experience back to the churches that to this church and to my, church community at college. And I'm just really, really glad that I got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And I did forget to kind of mention, Abby mentioned it, so I did want to just touch on it too. When part of the part of our group too is that we covered the social principles, which is what Abby was talking about. We had a lot of conversations about the social principles of the United Methodist Church. And so if you go, we had them printed out. Kathy printed them out in these like little booklets or so, and it's the Methodist stance on all these different things. And I don't even want to say like social issues, because some of them, I don't really consider them to be issues, except for just, that, climate change, and that we are supposed to be good stewards of this earth. And you look at what's happened in Puerto Rico and how climate change has impacted the storms, even back to Katrina and things like that in 2005, when a lot of that damage that was done was because of the reef being gone, and and that's all due to climate change and oil spills and things like that. So between climate change, environmental sustainability, different social justice, humanitarian aid, mental health, we covered all of these different topics, which the Methodists have a stance on all of these things. If you really want to get dicey, they even have one about maternal health. So you can go on and you can go look that up. And it's important that we know who we're representing. I had a family member ask me years ago, "Oh, what do you guys believe in?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's based off love, And so this was years ago, Tammy. I was like 19. I was like, I don't know. And it's like, it's based off love. That's the only thing that I walk away from this building, is that it's based on love, and it's based on neighbors, and it's based on strangers becoming family and things like that, and how we live that out. And a lot of the Methodist principles are based off of that as well. And so if you take a look at those and even take them to your small groups, take them to your committee meetings and stuff. So each night when we would do our devotions, we were welcome to pick a card. Anyone could pick a card that maybe meant something to them. And to discuss it, and those social principles, how they're outlined on the Methodist website and everything. You just look up like Methodist social disciplines. They are, what does the world say about this? What does the church say about this? What can we do about this? And then what does the Bible say? That's the other part too. And so just kind of applying all of those things. And it's just really interesting to hear those things, and you just never know, I guess, who you're talking to, that those might be really important to. And so to understand who you're representing, especially if you do choose to go on an adult mission trip, which is kind of where I was going with this. This is not only a discovery mission for us to find and build relationships in Puerto Rico, it is also to train us as leaders. And there is a leadership training that a lot of us will be attending in March as well. And they are to help us become leaders within our own communities and churches, to take, whether it's adults or youth or a mixture, into our communities and have more purposeful interactions, or to, if you do choose to go somewhere outside of your immediate community, and how to lead those things to take into consideration. And that's why missions, I think my committee that I serve on, I was very pleased and happy and grateful that they saw that I could be that for them and for this church, as I want to be. And hopefully one day in 2025, we can get something on the books and just start taking, I think, adults out into, as opposed to youth, because I don't really want to handle a bunch of children. That's Brian's job now. But I will partner with Brian. I will not be in charge of youth, but I will partner with Brian if he will have me. But I would love to take adults out into the community, and if it doesn't have to be a week, it doesn't have to be 10 days like this was for us. It can be a long weekend. It can be a weekend, just to get out and see some other places and figure out how we can help. So that's kind of it. Wait. There is. Where did it? Oh, it's in the slide. We'll find it. We'll play it after. But does nobody else had bingo? Oh, it's in the thing. Okay, if you have bingo, come up and get a thingy. Come up and get a thingy. Come up and get a prize. What are you studying? Do you want a thing? A sticker for it? Yeah, that's how you know you have it marked off.
Well, I was just using the.
Which one is it? I can't see it. Which one is it?
Oh wait, right there. I was using the.
There you go. Which one? Oh, you don't need a thingy. You go over there. No, you don't need a thingy. But yes, so thank you guys. Does anyone have any questions while we're looking at bingo? Bryant. So I think for me personally, there was a little bit, I don't want to say uncertainty, but we were told to be there with flexible hearts and minds and things, and to be flexible. And when you're traveling with 12 people in 3 separate cars with Spanish street signs and things like that, it can be hard to be flexible, trying to figure out where you're going, how long you're going to be there, all of those things. I think I got a little overwhelmed with some of the I don't want to say like spontaneity. We had like a general idea of what we were doing, but sometimes it was difficult to like say, oh, do you guys want to do this? And then, well, I don't know, it's up to you. Oh, I don't know, it's up to you. And I'm like, can we just go somewhere? So I'm a Libra through and through. I like to be planned, and I just, that's just how I am. But other people would maybe thrive in that, and I just felt like as like a little bit more of like as an older leader person, I wanted to have like maybe a little bit more of a dated, like an hour by hour itinerary, and that's just not always what it is, and that's definitely not what it is in warm climate. So there she is, dancing with the baby.
She didn't sing, right?
No, oh no. Sorry. Not into a microphone, she did not.
Oh, that's good.
Any other questions? No? You know everything about Puerto Rico now? Yeah. What? What's your question? You can just put it in the back. I'll figure it out. You can, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming and your support and your prayers and your love. I appreciate it.